Welcome back to ZE Coins Today. We're diving into the world of numismatics to uncover the top 9 most valuable Washington quarters that could be hiding in your collection. These coins aren't just spare change. They're treasures worth thousands, even hundreds of thousands of dollars. Let's explore these rare gems. We're diving deep into a coin that most of us have held in our hands at some point, the 1978 Washington quarter dollar. You might think of it as just 25 cents. But hold on, because some of these coins could be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars, depending on a few key details. We're going to break down the history, the rare varieties, and the real market value these coins can fetch today. So if you've got a few quarters lying around, you might want to pay very close attention. Let's start with the basics. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington. It was meant to be a one-year commemorative coin, but the design was so well received, it became a permanent fixture in U.S. coinage. By 1978, this design had already been around for over 4 decades. Now, when we talk about the 1978 quarter, we're referring to the version minted in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The Philadelphia quarters bear no mint mark. The Denver ones have a small D, and the San Francisco versions, made for proof sets, carry an S mint mark. All three can hold value under the right conditions. Let's get into the numbers. In 1978, the Philadelphia Mint struck over 521 million quarters. That's $500 million. The Denver Mint? Around 287 million. And San Francisco? Just over 3.1 million proof coins. So clearly, the S-Mint mark coins are much more limited in number. But rarity isn't just about mintage. It's also about quality, condition, and those special mint errors that can make a coin worth a small fortune. So what are collectors looking for? First, it's all about the condition. Coins that have never been circulated, what we call mint state, can command big prices. These are graded on the Sheldon scale from 1 to 70. The higher the grade, the more valuable the coin. For a 1978 quarter in MS65 condition, you might see prices around $10 to $20. Not bad for something that started as a quarter. But bump that up to MS67 or higher, and now we're talking about serious money. Some of these top-tier coins have sold for over $500. Now let's talk about proof coins, the ones minted in San Francisco. These coins were never meant for circulation. They're struck with special dies on specially prepared planchets, resulting in a mirror-like finish. If you've got a 1978 S-proof quarter still in its original proof set and it's in pristine condition, it could be worth $10 to $25, maybe more depending on the grading. But where it really gets interesting is with errors and varieties. That's where the big money hides. There are several known errors on 1978 quarters that collectors go crazy for. Let's look at some of the most valuable ones. First up, double dies. These occur when the die that stamps the coin has a design that was impressed twice but not perfectly aligned. This results in a doubling of letters or numbers, especially visible in words like Liberty or In God We Trust. Some double die quarters from 1978 have sold for hundreds of dollars. Next, off-center strikes. These are coins that were not properly centered when struck, causing part of the design to be missing. The more dramatic the off-center error, and the more of the date that remains visible, the higher the value. Some extreme off-center 1978 quarters have fetched up to $1,000 at auction. Then we have clipped planchets. This error happens when the metal sheet from which blanks are punched shifts, causing a crescent-shaped missing piece on the coin. Depending on how dramatic and well-centered the clip is, these can be worth $50 to several $100s. Another rare but exciting variety is the transitional error. While there are no confirmed major transitional errors for the 1978 quarter, collectors always keep their eyes peeled for coins struck on the wrong metal or using dies meant for a different year. If such a coin were to surface, it could easily reach into the thousands. So what's the takeaway here? If you're going through your change jar, check your quarters. Look for mint marks. Look for proof-like finishes. Look for errors. Even circulated 1978 quarters in near-perfect condition can hold value. And the ones with mistakes? Those are the true treasures. Let's talk about current market value. As of now, a regular 1978 quarter in average circulated condition is still worth 25 cents. But in uncirculated condition, they can range from $5 to $25. Proof coins can go for similar or slightly higher amounts. But when it comes to high-grade mint state coins or certified error coins, the price can soar. Recently, an MS-67 1978 D quarter sold for over $900. Another off-center strike example brought in more than $700. And while these are not everyday finds, they do turn up if you're serious about finding value. Consider having your coins graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC. These companies certify the grade and authenticity of your coin, giving collectors confidence and increasing marketability. So to wrap it all up, the 1978 Washington quarter might seem ordinary, but there's a surprising amount of history, variety, and potential value packed into that small piece of metal. Whether you're a collector, a treasure hunter, or just someone curious about coins, it pays, literally and figuratively, to look closely at your change. We're diving deep into a coin that might be hiding in your pocket change right now. That's right, the 1979 D Washington quarter. You may think it's just another coin from the late 70s, but some of these quarters are worth far more than 25 cents. In fact, depending on the condition and error, this coin can sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars. So sit back, grab your magnifying glass, and let's uncover the secrets behind the 1979 D Washington quarter. First, let's go back to where it all started. The Washington quarter was first issued in 1932 to honor the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. It quickly became a staple in American coinage. Fast forward to 1979, and the Denver Mint struck millions of quarters with the D Mint mark. At first glance, it may seem like just another quarter, but there's more than meets the EYE.IN 1979. The US was still using quarters made of a copper-nickel-clad composition. That means there's no silver in these coins, but don't let that fool you. Some examples are still highly collectible due to condition, rarity, and errors. So what makes the 1979 D quarter special? First off, over 489 million were minted at the Denver Mint. That's a huge number, which means finding a standard circulated quarter from this year isn't rare. But as every collector knows, rarity isn't just about mintage. It's about finding that perfect storm, the right coin in the right condition, with the right kind of error.in high-grade condition. The 1979 D quarter becomes far more valuable. Coins graded MS-65 or higher, especially by grading services like PCGS or NGC, can command serious premiums. There are three main things that make a 1979 D quarter valuable. Number one, mint errors. These are mistakes made during the minting process. Some 1979 D quarters have off-center strikes, double dies, or die cracks. A double die obverse, for instance, shows doubling in the inscriptions like Liberty or In God We Trust. These errors can make a 25-cent coin worth hundreds. Number two, high-grade coins. Coins graded MS-66 and above are rare for this year. At MS-67, these coins become very scarce, and prices can climb into the hundreds or even thousands of dollars. As of now, PCGS has graded only a small number of MS-67 examples, and they have sold for over $1,000 at auction. Number three, full strike and eye appeal. Coins with sharp details, no weak spots, and brilliant luster can also demand higher prices, especially among serious collectors. Now let's talk numbers. What are collectors actually paying for these coins? A regular 1979 D quarter in circulated condition is still worth face value, just 25 cents. But if you find one in mint state condition, especially MS-65 or higher, things get interesting. An MS-65 example is typically worth around $10 to $20. An MS-66 quarter can sell for $30 to $50. But the real jump happens at MS-67. These ultra-high-grade coins have been sold at auction for over $1,100. One even went for nearly $1,500 due to its exceptional quality. Now add a rare mint error to the mix, like a double die or off-center strike, and the value can skyrocket. Some error quarters have sold for $500 or more, depending on the severity and visibility of the error. So how do you find one of these valuable quarters? Start by checking your pocket change. Yes, it's possible to find a gem even today. Also, look through coin rolls from the bank, which is a popular strategy known as roll hunting. If you find a 1979 D quarter that looks unusually crisp or shows signs of a mint error, you might want to get it graded. Grading costs money, but it could pay off big if your coin ends up being a rare find. Let's say you find a high-grade or error 1979 D quarter. What should you do? If you're a collector, you might want to hold on to it, especially if it's a high-grade example that could appreciate in value. But if you're looking to sell, consider auction sites like eBay or working with a professional coin dealer. Just make sure your coin is authenticated and graded if it's in exceptional condition. The 1979 D Washington quarter may not be made of silver, but it still holds serious potential value. Whether it's a rare mint error, an ultra-high-grade specimen, or simply a piece of American history, this coin is more than just small change. So the next time you get a quarter back in change, don't just toss it in a jar. Take a closer look. Who knows, you might just be holding a hidden treasure worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. We're diving deep into one of the most overlooked yet surprisingly valuable coins in your pocket change, the 1984 D Washington quarter dollar. That's right, this seemingly ordinary coin minted in Denver during the Reagan era can be worth far more than 25 cents. In fact, some rare examples of the 1984 D Washington quarter have sold for hundreds, even thousands of dollars. Stay tuned, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for and why this coin matters more than you think. Let's rewind the clock to 1984. Ronald Reagan was president. The United States was undergoing major economic changes. Pop culture was exploding. And at the Denver Mint, millions of Washington quarters were being struck. Over 546 million to be exact. On the surface, the 1984 D quarter doesn't seem rare. In fact, it's one of the most common quarters from the 1980s. But here's the secret. Rarity is not always about mintage numbers. It's about condition, errors, and demand. Let's talk about the design. Like all quarters from 1932 to 1998, the obverse of the 1984 D features the profile of George Washington. The word liberty arches over his head. In God we trust sits to the left, and the year 1984 appears below his neckline. On the reverse, we see a proud American eagle with wings spread wide, perched on a bundle of arrows with olive branches below. Above the eagle is the inscription United States of America, and just beneath that, E pluribus unum. At the very bottom, it says quarter dollar. Now here's where things get interesting. Most 1984 D quarters are only worth face value. You can spend them without a second thought. But for collectors, certain varieties and high-grade examples change everything. One key factor is condition. Coins graded mint state by professional grading services, such as MS65, MS66, or even MS67, can bring serious money at auction. That's because finding a coin from 1984 that still looks brand new is incredibly difficult. These coins have been circulating for over 40 years. After all, so how much are we talking? A typical circulated 1984 D quarter might bring 30 to 50 cents from a dealer. But if you find one in mint state 66 or better, it can sell for over $100. In fact, a top-graded 1984 D quarter, certified MS67 by PCGS, sold at auction for over $1,000. That's right, a $1,000 quarter from the 1980s. And it's not just about shiny surfaces. It's also about rarity in high grade. At MS67, there are only a handful of these coins known to exist. Now let's talk errors. This is where things really heat up. Certain error coins from 1984 D can be worth a small fortune. Keep your eyes peeled for double die obverse, off-center strikes, and clipped planchets. A double die means the coin was struck twice with a misaligned die, creating a ghost-like doubling of the design. These errors are highly sought after by collectors. If you find a double die from 1984 D, depending on the severity and condition, it could be worth hundreds of dollars. Off-center strikes, where the image appears pushed to one side, also add value. The more dramatic the off-center strike, the higher the premium. And clipped planchets, where a chunk of the coin is missing due to a minting mistake, are always a hit with error collectors. But don't go digging through your change just yet. There's one more factor you need to know. The coin market is hot right now. In recent years, interest in collectible coins has surged. Whether it's due to rising silver prices, nostalgia, or the influence of online coin communities, demand has skyrocketed. This means the value of rare 1984 D quarters is even higher today than it was just a few years ago. So what should you do if you think you've found a valuable 1984 D quarter? First, don't clean it. Cleaning a coin can destroy its value. Next, inspect it closely with a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe. Look for signs of doubling, off-center designs, or other unusual features. If it looks like a high-grade specimen, or if you think it might be an error coin, consider sending it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll evaluate it, assign a grade, and give it an official certification that can help you sell it for top dollar. To sum it up, the 1984 D Washington quarter may be common in numbers, but it hides some real treasures. Whether it's pristine mint state examples or rare mint errors, this coin has serious potential. So next time you get change at the store or go through your old coin jar, keep an eye out. That little Denver minted quarter might just be your next big payday. We're diving deep into the fascinating world of the 1987 P Washington quarter dollar. You may have one sitting in your pocket or hiding in an old coin jar. But did you know some of these seemingly common coins can actually be worth serious money? That's right. In this video, we'll explore everything about the 1987 P quarter, from its history to its rare errors, from circulated coins to mint state examples that fetch hundreds or even thousands of dollars in today's market. Stay with us to learn what to look for and how much your coin could be worth. Let's start with a bit of background. The Washington quarter has been a staple of American coinage since 1932. It was introduced to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. Designed by John Flanagan, the obverse of the coin features a left-facing bust of Washington, while the reverse until 1998 depicted a bald eagle with outstretched wings perched on a bundle of arrows with olive branches beneath. The 1987 P quarter still uses this classic design. Now, what does the P stand for? The letter P is the mint mark indicating that the coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. In 1987, over 582 million of these quarters were produced in Philadelphia alone. That's a huge number, which generally means the coin is common. But don't let that number fool you. There are exceptions, and that's where things get interesting. So what makes a 1987 P quarter valuable? There are a few key factors collectors and dealers look for: condition, errors, and provenance. Let's talk condition first. Most 1987 P quarters you find in circulation are heavily worn. They're worth face value just 25 cents. But uncirculated coins in pristine condition can be much more valuable. Coins graded MS65 or higher by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC can sell for around $10 to $20, sometimes more depending on demand. Now, that's not exactly life-changing money, but it's a big jump from a quarter. However, coins graded MS67 or MS68, that's where we start talking serious value. An MS67 example has sold for over $100. An MS68, if you can find one, might fetch over $500 or even close to $1,000 at auction. These are rare, premium quality coins with virtually no flaws. But the real treasure lies in the error coins. Error coins are mistakes made during the minting process. In 1987, several types of errors occurred on the P Mint quarters. Some of the most valuable include off-center strikes, double dies, clipped planchets, and broad strikes. A double die obverse, for instance, may show noticeable doubling in the word liberty or in the motto "In God We Trust." These can range from $50 up to several hundred depending on how dramatic and clear the doubling is. Off-center errors, where the design is noticeably shifted, can also command high premiums. A 10% off-center error in good condition could sell for $75 to $150. More dramatic errors go even higher. Then we have the so-called transitional or anomaly pieces. While not confirmed in mass quantities, some collectors report finding 1987 P quarters struck on planchets meant for other coins, such as nickels or foreign denominations. These are extremely rare and would need to be authenticated by a reputable third-party grading service. If genuine, these could be worth thousands depending on the uniqueness and the buyer's interest. So what's the market like today for 1987 P quarters? As of this year, the demand for high-grade and error coins remains strong. Coin collectors are always hunting for mint state coins or certified errors, and prices continue to rise for top examples. Auction houses and online platforms like eBay or Heritage Auctions regularly see bidding wars for coins graded MS67 and higher or for verified mint errors. If you believe you have a high-grade quarter or suspect an error, it's worth getting it checked out by an expert or submitted to a grading service. Let's summarize what to look for if you have a 1987 P Washington quarter. First, check the condition. If it's shiny and sharp with no visible wear, it could be worth more than face value. Second, look for errors. Any oddity in the lettering, missing elements, or off-center images could mean you have a rare minting mistake. Third, if you have access to a magnifying glass or loupe, closely examine the coin for doubling, especially in the text on the obverse side. Fourth, consider getting the coin graded. A professionally certified coin always holds more value and buyer trust than an ungraded one. And finally, check recent auction prices online to get an idea of what similar coins have sold for. Market value fluctuates, and a coin that was worth $50 last year might sell for $100 this year. So the next time you come across a 1987 P Washington quarter, don't just toss it into your change jar. Take a close look. You might be holding a small piece of history and potentially a big payday. We're diving deep into the fascinating world of coins and collectibles. If you're holding on to a 1996 D Washington quarter, you may want to take a closer look. Some of these coins, while common in your pocket change, have the potential to be worth far more than just 25 cents. Let's uncover the full story of the 1996 D Washington quarter dollar, its history, its value, and how you might spot one that's worth big money. First, let's talk history. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington. Originally intended as a one-year commemorative issue, the coin was so well received that it became a permanent part of American coinage. Fast forward to 1996. This was one of the last years the original eagle reverse design was used before the U.S. Mint introduced the 50-state quarters program in 1999. The 1996 D quarter was minted in Denver, Colorado. The Denver Mint struck over 906 million of these coins, making it a very common issue. On the surface, this might seem like bad news for collectors. After all, a high mintage usually means lower value. But not all quarters are created equal. Condition is key. A worn, circulated 1996 D quarter might only fetch its face value, just 25 cents. But uncirculated coins, especially those graded MS65 or higher by professional grading services, can command a premium. So let's break down the value. If you have a 1996 D Washington quarter in average circulated condition, it's probably worth face value. But if you have one in mint state, say MS60 to MS63, you might be looking at a value between $1 and $5. That's not life-changing, but it's better than a quarter. Now, if your coin is graded MS65 or higher, things get more exciting. In MS65 condition, the 1996 D quarter can sell for between $10 and $20. And in MS67 or better, these coins can fetch between $50 and $100 or more. In fact, record sales show that in top condition, with sharp details, luster, and no significant marks, the 1996 D quarter has sold for as much as $250 at auction. That's 100 times its face value. But there's more to it than just the grade. Rare varieties and minting errors can skyrocket a coin's value. Let's talk about some error coins to watch out for. One of the most desirable types of errors is the double die. While no major double die variety is officially recognized for the 1996 D quarter, minor doubling on the lettering or date has been reported. If you spot clear doubling under magnification, especially on the word Liberty or In God We Trust, it could be worth sending in for verification. Another valuable error to look for is an off-center strike. These coins occur when the coin blank is not properly aligned in the press. The more dramatic the off-center strike, the higher the value, especially if the date is still visible. Then there are clipped planchets. These coins have curved or straight edges where part of the metal blank was cut off before striking. A clipped planchet 1996 D quarter in nice condition could be worth $30 to $50 or more. And don't forget die cracks and cuds. These are raised lines or lumps on the coin caused by damage to the dies used in the minting process. While minor die cracks are common and not worth much, major cracks or full cuds can be quite valuable, especially if they're prominent and dramatic. Let's talk about grading and authentication. If you think you have a rare or valuable 1996 D quarter, it's essential to get it professionally graded. Services like PCGS or NGC offer authentication and will assign a grade based on the coin's condition. A certified coin can bring much higher prices, especially if listed on platforms like eBay, heritage auctions, or great collections. Also keep in mind that coins in original mint sets are often in better condition. If you have a 1996 US Mint uncirculated coin set, check the Denver Mint quarter carefully. It might be a high-grade specimen right out of the packaging. Now, let's take a look at current market trends. As of this year, interest in modern coin collecting is growing. With inflation, economic uncertainty, and the rise of YouTube and social media, more people are getting into the hobby, and they're hunting for treasure in everyday change. Auction records show that top-grade 1996 D quarters have consistently fetched strong prices. A PCGS MS67 1996 D quarter recently sold for $175. And high-grade examples with attractive toning can command even more. So what does this mean for you? Take out your coin jars. Check those drawers. Look at your old quarter rolls. That 1996 D quarter might just be worth more than you think. And even if it's not a jackpot, it could be the beginning of your journey into coin collecting. A hobby that's rich in history, and sometimes literally rich in value. We unlock the stories behind America's rarest coins. Today, we're diving deep into the 1998 P Washington quarter dollar. A coin you might just have in your change jar, but one that could be worth far more than 25 cents. Let's start with the basics. The 1998 Washington quarter was part of the regular issue coinage from the Philadelphia Mint. It was the final year before the legendary 50-state quarters program began in 1999. This gives the 1998 issue a unique place in U.S. coin history, acting as a symbolic end to an era that began in 1932 when the Washington quarter was first introduced to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington. The 1998 quarter features the classic John Flanagan portrait of George Washington on the obverse and an eagle with outstretched wings on the reverse. Struck in a copper-nickel-clad composition, over 896 million of these coins were minted in Philadelphia alone, which means it's not rare in general circulation. However, some very specific coins from this mintage are highly sought after by collectors. So what makes some 1998 P quarters valuable? Let's break it down. First, condition matters. A typical circulated 1998 P Washington quarter is worth only its face value, 25 cents. But if your coin is in uncirculated or mint state condition, its value increases significantly. Coins graded MS65, which is a high grade with minimal marks, can be worth between $5 and $10. Go higher to MS67 or MS68, and the price jumps dramatically. Some pristine examples graded MS68 by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC have sold for over $500 at auction. That's right, from 25 cents to over $500. Second, let's talk about errors. Error coins are where the real money starts flowing. A small number of 1998 P quarters have been found with dramatic minting errors that skyrocket their value. These include off-center strikes, double dies, and broad strikes. One known error is a 1998 P quarter with a strong double die on the obverse. This type of doubling shows extra thickness in the date, the word liberty, and the motto "In God We Trust." These coins can be worth hundreds of dollars, depending on clarity and condition. Another valuable error type is the transitional error. There are rumors and some listings of 1998 P quarters being struck on experimental planchets. Planchets that were tested for the upcoming Sacagawea dollar or even the 1999 state quarters. If authenticated, these coins can sell for thousands. Then there are coins with high-quality proof-like or satin finishes, struck on specially prepared dies or planchets by mistake. These rare varieties can bring in premiums of several $100s or more, depending on the market. Let's move to current market values. As of today, in 2025, the value of a 1998 P Washington quarter in mint state ranges from $5 to $30 in MS65 to MS66. In MS67, prices range from $100 to $250. The few known MS68 coins can command values from $400 to over $600, depending on the buyer and the certification. Error coins, especially verified double dies or off-center strikes, vary widely but often sell for between $100 and $500. Exceptional error specimens or rare planchet strikes can reach well into the thousands. And let's not forget full rolls or original bank-wrapped rolls of 1998 P quarters. These can sell for over $50 if they remain untouched, giving collectors a chance to hunt for gems or errors within the roll.in summary. While most 1998 P quarters are common pocket change, a small percentage are worth far more. Key factors that boost value include mint state condition, grading above MS66, verified doubling or error varieties, and rare minting anomalies. If you think you've got a winner, your first step should be to examine the coin under good light and with magnification. Look for doubling, misaligned features, and signs of striking errors. Then consider sending the coin to a trusted grading company like PCGS or NGC for authentication and valuation. So, check your pocket change, search those coin jars, and dig through old rolls. The next valuable quarter might just be hiding in plain sight. If you're into coins, collecting, or just wondering whether that change in your pocket could be worth more than face value, you're in the right place. Today, we're diving deep into the world of the 2012 D Washington $quarter coins, what makes them special, what you should look for, and how much they can be worth today. Let's begin with some background. The 2012 D Washington quarters are part of the America the Beautiful series, which the United States Mint launched in 2010. These quarters feature iconic national parks and historic sites from each state and territory. The D Mint mark stands for the Denver Mint, where these coins were produced. Now, in 2012, the Mint released 5 different designs for the quarter. Each of these designs came from a different state and represented a unique location. The 5 America the Beautiful quarters of 2012 were El Yunque National Forest in Puerto Rico, Chaco Culture National Historical Park in New Mexico, Acadia National Park in Maine, Hawaii Volcanoes National Park in Hawaii, and Denali National Park in Alaska. Each of these had a Denver minted version, meaning 5 different 2012 D quarters to keep an eye on. Let's talk about mintage. The Denver Mint struck tens of millions of each design. For example, over 68 million El Yunque quarters were minted in Denver, and similar numbers apply for the rest. That means these coins aren't exactly rare, but as with all collectibles, it's not just about quantity. It's about condition, demand, and most importantly, errors and varieties. So what should collectors look for in the 2012 D quarters? First off, let's talk about condition. A standard circulated 2012 D quarter will typically be worth its face value of 25 cents. But a quarter in brilliant uncirculated condition, especially graded MS65 or higher by a professional service like PCGS or NGC, can fetch a few dollars to upwards of $20 or more, depending on the design and current market demand. Now here's where things get interesting: error coins. These are the coins that escape the mint with striking mistakes, off-center images, die cracks, double dies, or planchet errors. For instance, some 2012 D Chaco Culture quarters have been found with die breaks, resulting in what collectors call cuds, or raised areas where part of the die was broken. These can add anywhere from $10 to $50 to the coin's value depending on the severity and visibility of the error. There are also rumors and reports of double die obverse errors in the Acadia and Denali quarters, where the lettering or George Washington's image appears slightly doubled under magnification. These kinds of varieties are highly collectible, and depending on the condition, they can be worth over $100 or more. Let's take an example. A 2012 D Hawaii Volcanoes quarter in Mint State 68 sold for over $400 at auction. Why? Because of its near-perfect condition and the difficulty of finding that particular design in high grade. Even without an error, top-graded examples can be very valuable because they're rare in that pristine condition. If you're wondering how to find out if your coin is valuable, here's what you do. First, check the condition. Is it uncirculated? Does it have a mirror-like finish? Second, look for errors using a magnifying glass or coin loop. Look closely at the lettering, edges, and George Washington's face. Third, look up recent sales on coin auction sites or grading service websites like PCGS to compare. In today's market, here are some general value ranges. Circulated 2012 D quarters, about 25 cents. Uncirculated coins, between $1 and $10. Certified MS67 to MS68, between $50 and $400 depending on design and demand. Error coins, these vary wildly but can range from $10 to well over $150 depending on type and visibility of the error. And remember, values can fluctuate. The coin market moves like any other collectible market, based on interest, supply, and economic conditions. What's hot today might cool tomorrow, but high-grade coins and major errors tend to hold long-term value. So if you've got a jar of change lying around or a coin folder you haven't opened in years, now might be a great time to take a second look. That 2012 D quarter could be more than just spare change. It might be a small treasure. We're diving deep into a modern coin that might just be hiding a small fortune in your pocket change. The 2016 D Washington quarter dollar. You might be surprised, but even recent coins like this can fetch serious money, depending on a few key details. So grab your coin jars and let's find out what makes the 2016 Denver minted Washington quarter potentially worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. First, let's talk about the basics. The Washington quarter has been a staple of American coinage since 1932. In 2010, the U.S. Mint launched the America the Beautiful Quarters program, and the 2016 quarters are part of that special series. These quarters feature 5 unique national park designs: Shawnee in Illinois, Cumberland Gap in Kentucky, Harper's Ferry in West Virginia, Theodore Roosevelt in North Dakota, and Fort Moultrie in South Carolina. All 5 of these were issued in 2016. Now, when we say 2016 D, we're talking about coins minted at the Denver Mint, which produced hundreds of millions of quarters that year. That might sound like a lot, and it is, but not all coins are created equal. So what makes a 2016 D quarter special? Well, let's break it down. First, condition matters. If you have a 2016 D quarter in uncirculated or mint state condition, you're already ahead. Coins graded MS65 or higher by third-party services like PCGS or NGC can command a premium. These are coins that show no signs of wear, have full luster, and sharp detail. For example, an MS67 or MS68 2016 D Harper's Ferry quarter has sold for over $500 at auction. Next, let's talk about errors and varieties. This is where the big money can really come in. Error coins are unintentional mistakes made during the minting process, and collectors love them. On 2016 D quarters, look for double dies, off-center strikes, die breaks, and strike-throughs. Some Fort Moultrie quarters, for example, have shown doubling in the lettering or the design details like the cannon or soldier figure. If you spot strong doubling, you might have a valuable double die variety. Another thing to watch for is the so-called leaky bucket or cud error, where part of the coin's rim has a raised blob caused by a broken die. Some 2016 D quarters with this kind of cud error have sold for upwards of $100 depending on the size and visibility of the flaw. Then we have the coin struck on the wrong planchet. Though extremely rare, some quarters are struck on nickel or dime planchets. These errors are instantly noticeable because the size and weight are off. If you find one, you could be looking at a coin worth thousands. Now let's turn to the current market values. As of now, a typical 2016 D Washington quarter in circulated condition is worth its face value, just 25 cents. But in uncirculated rolls or mint sets, the value increases. A full roll of uncirculated 2016 D quarters can fetch between $10 and $20, depending on the design and buyer demand. But here's the exciting part: individual coins graded MS67 or better can bring in big bucks. For instance, a 2016 D Theodore Roosevelt quarter graded MS68 has sold for over $1,000 at auction. That's right, a single modern quarter worth over $1,000. And it's not just one fluke sale. As grading becomes more competitive and collectors seek the best of the best, high-grade examples continue to gain value. The coin market is very active right now, with collectors looking to complete high-grade sets for the America the Beautiful series. So what should you do if you think you have a valuable 2016 D quarter? First, examine the coin under good lighting. Use a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe to check for doubling, die cracks, or anything unusual. Check the coin's luster and surface for signs of circulation. If it looks pristine, it might be worth getting it graded. Next, consider sending your coin to a reputable grading service. Yes, there's a cost, but for high-grade coins or errors, it's absolutely worth it. Grading authenticates the coin and provides a marketable value. And finally, stay informed. Follow coin auction results, join coin forums, and check in with dealers and collectors. The more you learn, the better you'll be at spotting value. To wrap it up, the 2016 D Washington quarter dollar might seem ordinary, but under the right conditions, it can be worth far more than 25 cents. Whether it's a rare error, a high-grade example, or a coin with a unique story, this modern piece of change has real potential. So check your pockets, flip through your change jars, and take a close look at those 2016 quarters. You never know what treasure you might already have. We uncover the stories and hidden value behind America's most fascinating coins. Today, we're diving deep into the world of the 2017 D Washington $quarter coin. Don't underestimate this modern coin. It might still be in your change jar right now, but some of these coins are worth a surprising amount of money, far more than face value. Let's start with the basics. The 2017 D Washington quarter was struck at the Denver Mint, which is what the D Mint mark stands for. This year marked the continuation of the America the Beautiful Quarters program. Each year under this program, 5 new designs were released, showcasing national parks and historical sites from across the country. In 2017, 5 unique designs were issued. Effigy mounds in Iowa, Frederick Douglass in Washington, DC Ozark National Scenic Riverways in Missouri, Ellis Island in New Jersey, George Rogers Clark National Historical Park in Indiana. Each of these designs can carry unique collectible value. But today we're focusing on the ones minted in Denver, especially the coins with errors, varieties, or pristine condition. Let's talk mintage numbers. The Denver Mint struck millions of these quarters. For example, over 289 million effigy mounds quarters were minted in Denver alone. That sounds like a lot, and it is, but what makes certain coins special isn't how many were made, but how few remain in exceptional condition or with minting errors. Here's where things get interesting. Collectors are always on the lookout for coins in mint state, especially those graded MS67 or higher. MS stands for mint state, and the higher the number, the better the condition. Coins in mint state 65 and above are considered investment grade, and if you find a 2017 D quarter in MS67 or even higher, it could be worth significantly more than 25 cents. For instance, an MS67 2017 D effigy mounds quarter has been sold at auction for over $100. A flawless MS68 coin? That can sell for even more depending on the demand and the current market. But condition isn't the only factor. There's another category that turns everyday pocket change into treasure: errors and varieties. Let's look at some known valuable errors from the 2017 D quarters. Some coins show dramatic die breaks or cuts, where part of the die has broken off, leaving raised blobs of metal on the coin. These can make a quarter sell for 5 to 10 times its face value. There are also doubling errors, where parts of the design appear doubled. This is known as a double die and is highly prized by collectors. If you come across a 2017 D quarter with noticeable doubling on the lettering or design details, you could be holding a coin worth anywhere from $50 to several $100s, depending on how strong the doubling is and how well the coin has been preserved. Some 2017 D quarters were also struck off-center or have clipped planchets. These types of mint errors are more rare and can easily fetch between $50 and $200 or more depending on how dramatic the error is. Now, let's break down the current market value for different types of 2017 D quarters as of this year. Circulated 2017 D quarters with no errors are generally worth face value, unless they're part of a complete set or hold sentimental value. Uncirculated coins in rolls or mint sets might bring in a premium, around 50 cents to $1 each. Certified MS66 quarters can be worth $10 to $20. MS67 or higher, you're looking at coins valued anywhere from $75 to over $100 depending on demand. Major error coins like double dies, off-center strikes, or dramatic cuts can range from $20 to several $100s. So what should you look for in your spare change or in coin rolls? First, inspect the condition. Is the coin shiny with no scratches or wear? Second, check for errors using a magnifying glass. Look for doubling, die breaks, or anything unusual. Lastly, consider having it professionally graded by a service like PCGS or NGC if you believe it's in exceptional condition. To wrap it up, yes, the 2017 D Washington quarter may seem like an ordinary coin, but if you know what to look for, it could be a hidden gem worth real money. Whether you're a new collector or a seasoned numismatist, these modern quarters offer exciting potential, and it all starts with a closer look at what's in your pocket. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, and click the bell icon so you never miss a video about rare coins and valuable finds. If you've come across any interesting 2017 quarters yourself, Drop a comment below. We'd love to hear your story. Until next time, keep hunting and happy collecting.